Is onteenseglike bewyse ensovoorts dat hy vir Joey Harold geskiet het met homself.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard what the seasoned policeman said on television, on a documentary. It was said that it's proven that Gert van Rooyen shot Joey and then himself. There's one of the family members of one of the children stating that the police shot them. There's other doubts being raised. There's Professor Johan Laupcher, who said it's not impossible that Van Rooyen shot himself, but it's highly unlikely. On social media and in the media, Don Chandler said this: I can clearly see him turning the gun while I was trying to open the driver's door, jerking on the handle and holding my weapon pointing at him as he turned his back, his torso from Francina Joey Harold, to shoot himself. In the hearing following Gert and Joey's death, the prosecutor posed several questions to Chandler. This differs from him on social media and in the media, where he said he was busy trying to open the door. Here he says that it's impossible. Is it possible, when the prosecutor asked him, that she shot herself, or is it more likely that she was shot by Van Rooyen? Can you say in your opinion? I could not say, I just got an opinion. The fact of the matter is that Don Chandler says here he could not see. In his previous Facebook post, he said he was busy opening the door and he saw clearly. Here, in a newspaper article of that time, Chandler states that his pistol was in the direction of Joey Harold, and suddenly Gert van Rooyen took out a .357, pushed Joey Harold on his lap and shot her in the back of the head. Here he says Joey Harold was still alive and she died while they were waiting for the ambulance. However, in Don Chandler's official statement, he said they did not call the ambulance because it was clear that both suspects died. The truth of the matter is they never called the ambulance because Gert van Rooyen and Joey were certified in the back of a police mortuary van hours after the incident, in front of the former H.F. Wood Hospital, as being deceased.
Polisie, Annemarie se huissleutel, haar klaskapteinwapentjie, adres, 'n sak van met klere in die huis gekry het. Dit het dan dus direk vir Gert en Joey by Annemarie en vir dit betrokke gemaak. Die polisie het verder toe die terrein opgegrawe en gesoek na enige ander leidrade en niks gevind.
Die modus operandi op die manier kan dalk gelink word op die kampus bepaal dat al 6 meisies
Kan dalk gelink word.
moontlik betrokke is by hom. Daar is geen ander bewyse of enige ander inligting, maar enigstens anderste.
Geen bewyse, geen inligting.
So ons aanvaar dat hy betrokke is.
Ons aanvaar, maar Gert van Rooyen is onverskuldig.
Die polisie plaas hulle ondersoek by Gert se huis vir eers op eis om ander.
As you saw in this documentary, that one of the family members said items were found in the house. Seconds later, the newspaper reported, quoted the police saying nothing was found in the house. The same family member spoke to me on social media and told me nothing was found in the house. When I started asking questions about this investigation, not only were I arrested so many times, I can't even remember, for so-called fraud cases, etc., etc., every time having to pay a substantial amount to have cases dropped against me, etc. And then suddenly, Don Chandler came in on the picture. starting to threaten me, calling me and my father a sociopath, allegation he can't prove in his lifetime because I was never declared a sociopath or a psychopath in any way or sense or manner. I will take him to court for that. I'm actually busy with the process. He called me Gert, mama's boy. Yeah, he threatens me saying, Gert, I'm your worst nightmare. Gert, ek soek vir jou nou, ernstig, jy het na al die jare vir my gesoek. I am on you today, pig. Use a phone, use a computer, I will know. Then he calls me and my brother, my kid brother that time, that was 6 years old, a kiddie jawler. Somebody in English interpretation that messes with little girls. Yeah, him and his friends call me a mental patient from an asylum, something I was never declared of, being a mental patient. As Professor Johan Laupsche stated, it's highly unlikely that Gert van Rooyen shot himself. As the policeman in this previous bit stated that it was proven that Gert shot Joey, that's nonsense. That's actually the right word for it. It was never proven that Gert van Rooyen shot Joey. It was presumed, as they also presumed he was the pedophile. They presumed he was guilty. They just presumed. Ja, Joey was hier 'n polisieman geskiet. Beide Joey en Gert, soos jy in jou plasing gemeld het, Marsha, leef Don nog. Ja, volgens Facebook leef Don nog in Newcastle. Interesting to say the least, that family members in 2004 already, of 1994, started pointing fingers at the policeman that chased them, alleging that they shot Gert van Rooyen and Joey Arolf. Apparently Don Chandler is writing a book, presumably some kind of racist book, since it refers to people as being made. Don Chandler now has Facebook, social media abuzz with all the documentation, photographs and stuff he removed from the house. Way back in the day, in 1990, after the shooting, Don Chandler was removed the 17th of January from this case, never to work on this case again. This didn't stop him to make copies and remove photographs, documents, etc. from my father's house, which I will show to you shortly, some of it. He posts this nowadays on Facebook, and basically, according to me, a member of the public, not a legal persona, that constitutes defeating the ends of justice. This case is sub judice. He's not supposed to have this in his possession, being a normal member of the public, having left the police in 1993. Some of the photos Don Chandler posted on Facebook to become famous. That's a photo of my 6-year-old kid brother, baby brother, that time, that Don Chandler thought it wise to post on Facebook. Him and a friend of his alleging that my little brother lured little girls into a public toilet for my father to abuse. No facts pertaining to this, just that's what he does. That's what Don Chandler does. In the next couple of days, court proceedings will start whereby I will challenge the authenticity of Don Chandler's statements. He can know this. He can go now and take the money that he gets from donations and employ a good lawyer. This is my vow. This has been going on for 30 years. And when Don Chandler started attacking my family, swearing my wife on Facebook, threatening my kid brother, threatening my family, whilst he gets his money from donations, supposedly looking for the missing children, but taking the donations and using that airtime and that infrastructure to intimidate us, him and his group, we will leave no stone unturned to get to the bottom of all this, starting way back in 1988 and 89. And I will prove to you, for instance, that Tracy-Lee Scott-Crossley was never linked to my father. We will prove to you that several explanations exist where my father was at certain dates where it was alleged they were kidnapping children. One must remember, if you look again at the video, it was said by a seasoned officer of the South African police of that years that there's no evidence linking him. They thought and they presumed it was Gert van Rooyen. Under a presumption, our family had to endure the hatred of the public and the police for 30 years. Now it's our turn to set the record straight. My family has been shattered. We landed in prison, some of us. Me and my one brother landed in prison for ridiculous cases, being accused of nonsense. No proof, but because we're van Rooyen, it's presumed that we did that, we did this. In the last 5 years, I've been arrested numerous times for cases that some of them I don't even know the complainants. This needs to stop. Justice needs to be served. Do yourself a favor. Go look on social media for a page called Let the Truth Prevail about Gert van Rooyen. Follow that page and you will find shocking posts, shocking photographs, shocking commentaries, threats, death threats, daily threats using the P word. It's unbelievable to what extent these people go, Don Chandler and his followers, to try to intimidate and destroy our family. There will be new videos also later, possibly during the course of this week, where we will elaborate on certain facts. And once again, do remember that there is no evidence ever linking Gert van Rooyen to any kidnapping anywhere. Everything Don Chandler and his crew thought out to construe this case and to build a case. We will prove fact that that's impossible. This is impossible. He didn't have the vehicle at that stage. Think about Fiona Harvey's kidnapping. They alleged the Bantam bakkie was used. Ironically, the Bantam bakkie was only purchased after she disappeared. With some of the other girls, they alleged that the combi was used. The combi was only purchased after some of the abductions. There's lots of facts. We will start from Joan Boyson and we will end with the last girl that went missing and explain to you exactly what we found in our investigation, specifically the last 3 years. And we will start also with Tracy-Lee Scott-Crossley and show you, and in the meantime, if you would be so kind, try to get your hands on the book Children of Sorrow. You will find that she was never missing as being an abductee. That's the words and the food for thought I would leave you with at this point in stage. My name is Gert van Rooyen, and I'm the son of Gert van Rooyen. His actual name is Cornelius Gerardus van Rooyen. Gert is a name that some of the people of one specific program on TV, people that actually lost their work because they couldn't prove fact, they started with the name Gert van Rooyen. You have yourself a splendid day. We will talk again. Lastly, just before I go, I want to focus your attention on 3 aspects. No powder residue tests were ever conducted on Gert and Joey's hands to show that they shot any firearms. Joey was shot with a small caliber, Gert was shot with a large caliber, supposedly a 357 Magnum. So Don Chandler says no two guns were used, only one gun was used. There was no exit wounds, exit holes inside the Bantam bakkie, so that 357 went somewhere because it exited his head, but there's no exit dent, indentation or holes inside the Bantam bakkie. basically there's no evidence that that 357 were used, because there's no ballistic reports that links a projectile of that firearm with the projectile that was supposedly not found in his head, because there was no projectile found. No high-speed particle blood tests were ever conducted, also strange. Remember Don Chana's words, they waited for the ambulance and Joey passed away. Remember his official statement where he said they knew already she was dead, so they didn't contact an ambulance. And then information in our possession whereby Gert and Joey was just left there while they conducted the investigation there, and only 4:45, 4:30, 4:45, they were taken to the now Steve Biko, that time H.F. Wood Hospital, in the back of a police mortuary van, and they were certified dead. That documentation will also suffice in our next video if we get it in time. Another fact is there were never any warrant for arrest issued on Gert van Rooyen and Joey Haroff at the time of their death. Maybe later, not before their death. That I can guarantee you. I will prove to you several facts that were construed by the police of that time, the previous regime's police, placing Gert van Rooyen and Joey Haroff at scenes where they were never really at, and several things that were told to the media that was totally untrue. That's why we thank democracy that there's a new police force, new investigating officers investigating this case. Now we will get answers and everybody will be at peace. Because like I said 27 years ago, 30 years ago, last week, yesterday, everybody focuses on Gert van Rooyen and Joey Haroff. For 30 years there was no evidence whatsoever. Just media making money, police concocting stories that time. Nobody bothers to look in any other direction except Gert van Rooyen. Basically, the children that went missing were neglected by the previous government and the public because nobody took time to think that there's no evidence against Gert and Joey. Let's look for somewhere else. Let's look at some other people. Let's look at some other leads. But now everybody's stuck to Gert and Joey, and here we are, 30 years down the line, and nothing sufficed. They are still missing. It's a sad, sad, sad case.